Here I have all the pieces needed for a 3-post trophy kit. I've laid all the parts out on the table, and I've got my packing list to compare to and the instructions to follow. Now remember, if you purchase multiple size trophies, you need to measure your columns and measure your rods to make sure you have the right pieces to put the trophy together that you're trying to build. The first step is to take a metal threaded rod and take the short threaded section and add the coupler to that, and then use your eagle trim until you have 3 rods connected and ready to go. The next step is to use the lid and pass the rods through the top of the lid. You'll know the top of the lid from the beveled edge, and the bottom of the lid has a countersink on the bottom to allow a hex nut to fit into. Set that down on the table and then get your check rings and your columns. Now the check rings have a lip that needs to go around the column. You always make sure the lip faces away from the wood. That way the column can seat down in it and you won't damage the check ring. Install the check rings and the columns onto the rods, and then you can continue building. Now that the check rings and columns are installed over the threaded rods, it's time to install the base. You want to carefully do this. Be careful not to undo everything you've done up to this point, but just pass the threaded rods through the holes in the base so that you can get the hex nuts on to tighten the assembly together. Take a hex nut, put it in your nut driver or socket, and just get the threads started. The goal is not to get everything tight at this point. It's just to get it so that we can manipulate the pieces and aim them in the direction that we want them to be for the final tightening. So also want to make sure that your check rings do not fall outside of the columns, because when you tighten the columns down, you can crush the check rings. So just get it loose enough so that you can move them and check them. Once they're checked, you can get it tight enough to adjust and tighten it up. Now I like to put the eagles straight forward on a 3-post, and like to get the columns so that they look good from the front, and then tighten the whole assembly up before anything can move. Now you don't want to tighten it too much, not so much that you're going to break anything, just so much that it's not going to move when the trophy is being handled. Once you get that done, it's good and solid, you can work on the upper portion of the trophy. Next step is to take the threaded rod with the short threaded end and put a coupler on, and then add your figure. This figure is the male victory figure, but we've got hundreds to choose from on our website. And with this, you're going to pass it through the marble lid, shiny side up, and then attach your column to the rod and aim it through the hole on the lid. And this is where that countersunk section is on the bottom of the lid for your hex nut. Now don't expect to get this right the first time. You just want to get it threaded on enough so that you can move the pieces and align them and center them as needed. Once you've got it exactly where you want it, then you can tighten the hex nut from the bottom. Now you want to do your lower trim. We chose star trim for this one. Take a hex nut, attach it there. There's also a countersunk in the base for the hex nut to fit into, and get that tight. The last step is to use your nameplate. It's got double-sided tape on the back. Just peel the cover off of the double-sided tape, and then you can attach it to your trophy. Now remember, the nameplate's made of metal, so you don't want the metal to bend. You just want to line it up, center it, make sure it's level, and use your finger to press it down. There is a 3-post trophy from TrophyKits.com.